From an orange kitchen in New York City, I am Serena and this is Cooking in Manhattan. Today we are making focaccia. Let's take a look at the ingredients for this traditional Italian flatbread. I have 4.5 cups of all-purpose bread flour. I have 1.5 cup of warm water. Make sure it's not scorching hot, it just has to be warm, otherwise it will kill the yeast. Then I have 1 tablespoon of dry active yeast, 1 tablespoon of sugar, I have 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil, and 1.5 tablespoon of salt. And I also have some beautiful herbs and some garlic. I will make this focaccia extra special by preparing the oil already infused with all the herbs, and then we're going to put additional herbs on top. Let's get going. The first step for a successful focaccia is buying the active dry yeast. But we need to proof it. We need to figure out whether the yeast is still active. So keep your packets always in the fridge, but then when you make your focaccia, also proof it with sugar and warm water. So I'm going to be adding a little bit of sugar to the yeast that I have here and a little bit of water, let's say like 1/2 cup. The water, as I said, it's warm, and now I'm gonna stir it so it combines perfectly. You smell it initially, you smell the yeast, and now we are going to let it sit until it foams a little bit. In the meantime, we are going to prepare our fantastic herb-infused oil. Making your herb-infused extra virgin olive oil is incredibly simple. You just take 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil, put it over medium heat. You don't want it to be too hot, you don't want it to be frying, otherwise you will reduce all the wonderful elements of the extra virgin olive oil. Then you put some garlic in it and the beautiful herbs that we have here. Here we go. You just need to warm it a little bit and, make it go around like this so it infuses, and then we're going to strain it, and in the end we are going to put it in our focaccia. We have allowed the oil with the herbs and the garlic to cool a little bit, and now we're going to strain it back in its original container. Here we go. And then we're gonna go back to our yeast that in the meantime has been foaming like crazy. I put the paddle attachment to my beautiful red monster, and now we are going to put together all the dry ingredients first. So I have the 4 cups of bread flour here. I am adding some additional sugar that I reserved and some salt. And in the meantime, look how fantastic our yeast looks like. It's been foaming like crazy. So this means that the yeast is indeed active. And then we're gonna add all the wet ingredients. So I'm going to add the super bubbly yeast that we have in here. Here we go. Look how much it bubbled. It actually foamed a lot. Here we go. There it goes. And we are going to give it a quick stir. Now we're adding a little bit more of the water. Go easy, do not add all of it because you might not need it, especially if your bread flour is a little bit moist. Now we're adding the herb flavored oil to, ooh, this smells good, to the flour, and let's give it another little stir. Wow, this smells so good, especially with this rosemary and fresh oregano flavored oil. It's going to be delicious. We are going to finish up with the rest of the water, and then we are going to switch to the hook attachment of the red monster, and we are going to give this a little bit of a beat. I switched to the hook attachment, and we are going to knead this bread very nicely. Well, maybe this is a little bit too much. Let's try 2. Yeah, that's better. For like 5 or 6 minutes until it's super nice and smooth. So this is the way it looks when it comes out of the red monster with the hook attachment for kneading. And we covered it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on top, and we are gonna let it rise in a warm area, covered with a little bit of saran wrap. This is very important, and you want to put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on the dough itself, because otherwise it's going to stick to the saran wrap and it's not going to be pretty when it comes out. So we are going to cover it like this, and then we put this cover on top. See how pretty that is? And it's going to double the size in more or less half hour. Are you curious of knowing what happened to our focaccia? Because I am. Whoa, it doubled in size. Look at this. It's really, really nice. And so we are going to put it in this baking sheet. I coated the baking sheet with some parchment paper. You know, that's one of my favorite things to use in Italian cooking. But I'm also going to drizzle a little bit of oil on the parchment paper. But I'm not going to use a pastry brush. I'm using rosemary. So this is going to have a fantastic smell of rosemary. I'll finish this up, and then we're going to transfer the focaccia into the baking sheet. So here we are. Let's take our focaccia dough. Ooh. I'm going to remove it from the sides of the bowl and transfer it in here. And then I am going to stretch it so that it fits perfectly. Whoa, this is such an elastic dough. It's amazing. And don't be afraid if this is not exactly the same size or the same height that you want, because this is going to have to rise a little bit more again. So here it is. I'll finish this up and I'll show you the rest. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? I am going to put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on top to keep the moisture of the dough. And just the idea of using as a pastry brush the rosemary, I think is a lot of fun. So you can do it also with your children that would never imagine that they would use rosemary as a pastry brush. And also a little bit of the herbs that we said in the beginning. So a little bit of fresh oregano and obviously rosemary. And I added also a little bit of, you know, a little bit of basil because I like it so much. And then finally, a little bit of coarse salt. What is focaccia without a little bit of coarse salt? And now we are going to cover this with some saran wrap again, and we're going to let it rise again. As you can see, our focaccia has been raising in the pan. So now I have preheated my oven at 400 degrees, and I am going to put this in. We will be cooking it until it's golden brown and delicious, more or less 25 to 30 minutes. Well guys, I wish you could smell this because it smells like a delicious focaccia is in the oven. So let's go take a look. Whoa, oh, wow, look at this. Doesn't it look amazing? Wow, and it smells so good. So we are going to cool it a little bit, and then we're going to try it, and maybe... So here it is. It is beautifully golden brown on the outside, and it is absolutely perfectly white and chewy on the inside. So now we can give it a try. That rosemary is an explosion in your taste buds. It's amazing. Try my focaccia. You will not be able to stop until all the loaf is gone. Well, I will see you again on the next Cooking in Manhattan. Ciao!